Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Holistic Yogi Podcast. I am Kamala Ingrid, and we're getting, and this is my guest today, Victor Vega. And I want you guys to welcome him today as we will be talking about his journey through his holistic journey through working through depression, as well as going through his making of a designer, his visions of creating a beautiful line of work, and also his healthcare service industry. So we're going to combine all of that and let's get started. So thank you, Victor, for joining me today.
Thank you. Good morning.
So,
actually, good afternoon.
Good afternoon
so sorry.
in Florida.
Oh my gosh, more soda, more soda.
So go ahead. Let's know a little bit about you and what got you started through this whole journey.
Well, regarding the healthcare, I've been in healthcare for over 30 years now. I became, after I graduated from public relations and marketing, my mom wanted a doctor in the house, and I'm kicking myself for not taking her advice. I should have become a doctor. I should have. So I met her halfway and I became a nurse.
That's awesome.
I became a nurse. Coming right out of school, I did nursing for about a year and a half. And my caseload were paraplegics and quadriplegics.
Wow.
Don't give that to a kid coming out of school.
Right. That's intense.
But I pulled through. I was the employee of the month twice in a row with my patients. But I felt I wanted more. So I was living in Puerto Rico then. I'm a New Yorker, born and raised. Then I moved out to New York to Puerto Rico for a little while. And I just decided to come back. I was working for a company, for a consulting engineering company. And so nice. I lived in Orlando for a little while.
What part in Orlando?
Orlando.
Okay.
I was
downtown?
Working, downtown. I was working at one of the treatment plants.
Okay.
And my nose was so in tune to it. So I automatically knew if there was, if they had too much chlorine in the clarifiers and whatnot. And I'm like, this is not for me.
Right.
So I decided to come down to Miami or to South Florida. I lived in Hollywood. And then after a couple of years, I moved back to Plantation for my house.
Yeah.
But in the interim, I was, again, with the health, concentrating the healthcare. I did air ambulance. I went for the big hospitals. Wow. I myself created, I feel that I'm a pioneer because I was doing concierge medicine and patient experience way before everybody else before it was a concept, right?
Wow.
And so I created the first international division, the first international department at the hospital, where I got to travel to Latin America to bring patients for specialty medicine here to South Florida.
Nice.
So I did the international marketing for about 15 years. And again, I was missing something.
Something wasn't there, right?
So I again, because I had combined the medical and the public relations and the marketing, and it took a different toll. And so I started doing more of the patient experience, where I got to talk to the family members, the patients, the nurses, the doctors. So I kind of incorporated everything. So if there was an issue, I brought in everybody. So I was kind of the liaison for everyone to come in, sit down, discuss what we needed to do, and then go and move forward.
Right.
Then in 2017, I left because there were so many changes in the hospitals and in healthcare. So I went on my own and I had already created BMV.
Okay.
But I had to put it on the side because I was working in corporate America. So 2017, from there on, it's been really, really bad years for me.
Well, it was very tough for a lot of people. So it was one of those kind of years where things started kind of,
And then, the depression kicked in, the anxiety, I clinically depressed, and I've gone through the whole thing with medications and treatments and whatnot. I think it's a little better now.
No.
But
what are you doing differently now?
I'm trying to take it day by day. I am, fortunately, I'm and I say unfortunately, right? Because I'm a perfectionist. And so if it doesn't go the right way, the way I want it to be, I'm going to get frustrated and all of this stuff. So that is right now, um, let's say on a download, right? So if it happens, I'm not going to take it as personal as before,
Right.
but it's still there. But and then COVID hit. That even made it worse.
Got it.
And now inflation. So all of it is just compacting all at once. I had a couple of I had a few clients that I was working for, about 4 or 5, and a lot of them Southwest Florida. So I would go to Naples and Fort Myers and Cape Coral,
Correct.
and now I'm here. So right now I'm still looking for new clients,
Okay.
and it's not only in the medical field, but also in the service industry, because marketing is marketing, business
Right,
development is
right.
business development, no matter what it is. But I was, in my life, I also worked in hospitality for 11 years, where I was a front office manager of big hotel chains. And so I'm combining all of that,
All of that.
and then I also have little side gigs that, my life partner and I, we're also fashion designers. We also do.
And his name is actually, well, we would love that he's here, but he's busy right now doing one of his
Yeah.
creations,
Yeah,
right?
we have a show coming up.
Yeah, and he's awesome as well. Very sweet with the whole. I've experienced both of you guys on
Yeah.
this whole thing, and we want to also incorporate him in spirit right here. What's and his
Sure.
name is
Francisco Perez.
So this is where your we got one of your bracelets.
Correct.
It's called
It's Vic Creates
Vic Creates. It's
for the bracelets.
beautiful. Yeah.
So what we do, so that's been around for a long time now. So Francisco is a fashion designer. He's from Venezuela, so he is a fashion designer, right? He puts it together. He's the tailor, the seamstress.
He's the mastermind, basically.
Well,
kind of.
he puts it together. The mastermind, I would think, would be me, because
Okay.
I manage the whole office. I put the let's say if there's I draw it. I draw the.
Oh, so you draw that.
dress.
So you make it kind of come, and he makes it come to life.
Correct. So I'm the
Beautiful.
designer, where I put it down on paper and
Yes,
design
yes,
it. So
yes,
my
yes.
background is also art
Art.
and graphic design. So
Lovely.
for me, it was so easy just to put it together. And then the fashion flair has always been in the blood. I love the fashion. I was so big in fashion in the 70s and 80s. And so we started putting Halloween costumes together.
Oh, wow.
And they were all from recycled material. So whatever was around,
Can you design mine for Halloween?
Yeah, we created stuff for Halloween. So there was duvets, there was curtains, there was so many other things that we saw that we had at our fingertips. And so we started creating these costumes, sustainable costumes, eco-friendly costumes. And it just hit me. I'm like, well, why don't we do this for for fashion?
Got it.
It wasn't real big.
Mm-hmm.
I remember that there was a fashion designer in New York that started this craze long time ago, but it didn't stick.
It didn't take off. Yeah.
No, it didn't. So, with everything that's happening right now with the environment and the planet and the ozone and all that other stuff, I decided, let's do this using recycled stuff. So in 2008, we soared. We went off. We were in everywhere. Everywhere.
That's awesome.
TV and magazines. I have a book about this, a book bag about this big with all of the magazines that we were in, featured in cover magazines too. So we did it all.
Nice.
And so we took a hiatus after we did New York Fashion Week. We took a little break because it was intense.
And I'm sure, putting it together, making it happen, making sure the models are on time, making sure everything, all those stuff that you have in between, that can be stressful just in itself.
And flying.
Oh, wow.
Flying with 60 dresses and bags and shoes. And oh my God, we just needed some time off.
Yeah, decompress time.
Yeah. So we took a couple of years, and that, when I put one aside, then I picked up the other, the B&B.
Okay.
And it's just been a journey. It has been.
That sounds like, but there's two
Ups
different
and
worlds,
downs.
that you have to learn. So how do you manage those two worlds like that? One as a designer and creativity, then the other one as a health, like.
I like to stay busy. I think that part of maybe, and your viewers can maybe even talk about it. The depression also kicks in when I'm not busy.
Okay.
When my brain is thinking
Over much, too much for, and you're not being able to
yeah,
produce.
it doesn't. So one of the things that I do when the depression is so bad, I just go out, let's say to the backyard. And so I start doing more of the brutal stuff.
Like
Not thinking, but
hands-on work on the ground
hands
in
on,
your
cutting trees, taking
beautiful.
care of my orchids,
That's
or
good.
with all the little kitty cats that I have now. So I'm taking care of them.
Yeah.
So that, so juggling both the V&B and the fashion stuff, it's for me, it's kind of the norm.
Now,
If I
how
don't do it,
long have you been struggling with depression? How far along have you been dealing with this?
I've been in denial all my life. I've had denial all my life.
Okay.
I've had situations when in New York with my dad having, not accepting the fact that I was a gay male.
Uh-huh.
I was thrown out of the house. So I lived in the streets when I was 14 years old.
So yeah, handling that,
kid,
as a kid, not having that support from your family can make a big.
The dad, mom always knew, and she was okay with it,
but still, the fact that you couldn't be home under the roof with the two people that that are supposed to be basically here caring and taking and catering to one.
And you're supposed to, I mean, come on, as a kid, as a 14-year-old kid, putting yourself out there, doing stuff that I needed to do to survive.
Yeah.
So the depression, I think, started very, very young, even before the 14 years old, because I always felt alone. Even if I'm in a big crowd, I still feel alone.
Right.
So,
well, I got to say, one of the things that as a yoga teacher, I've come to understand over the 20 something years of learning this, and also from my experiences of my stuff as a child, we also realize when children hit trauma at a very early stage of their life based on the home, meaning mom and dad or whoever is the ones that are taking care of you, because now it could be two women, two men, so it just depends on who's your
the new norm.
The new norm. It's been that way for some time, but we're not very open to, but now things are becoming more open. But the reality is that when a child is small, even when they're being carried in the womb, traumas already can be set based on the mother's situation. So that being said, that's the first chakra being rooted and tormented. So that can be passed on into our life events as we mature.
Sure.
So if the second chakra has to do with the partnering of the mother and father, or the two that are taking care of each other, if they're not synchronizing well, then what happens is that's where you start observing as a baby and seeing things, and those observations are you take them on, and then you apply them somehow unconsciously into your life.
Right.
And then third is more that part of the what they call those children that are like they call them terrible twos and three, it's the curiosity age, but basically it mostly hits more in the 3-4 where they start touching things, and if the parent is a very
tasting stuff.
Yeah, exactly. But if the parent is very domineering, then what happens is if the mother's domineering, then they'll end up finding a partner that's domineering, because they don't know how to control. And what happens is their excessiveness of compulsion or the opposite can be affected. They don't know how to balance and they end up doing things that either are too impulsive, or the opposite, not take any action at all until it's too late. So things like that, those are the first three chakras that are very critical in a child. So what happens is a lot of times we take on our parents' issues onto us, not knowing doesn't even belong to us, and then we grow up and we start adding on to our own life journeys, and hence depression can hit very hard on many people in different ways. So,
I mean, and my dad in the 60s and the 70s, there was so much to do.
Yeah.
And so he and I have talked about it. He wants to be my friend now, but it's kind of hard. I mean, you're still going to be my dad.
Yeah.
And then he apologized for all the beatings because he used to beat my mom, and then I would get in the way, and so I got beat up as well. Most of the time, I got more beat up than my
Right,
mom because
right,
I'd
right.
stick myself
In the
in the
middle of
way.
it, right?
But I look back at that and I'm like, well, maybe I'm a better man. I don't take it to.
That
I
is
mean,
true.
that's not for me. I don't carry that.
That's beautiful because that's a one,
Gotta
that's
let
a
it
way
go.
of healing. When you
Yeah.
don't allow that storyline to continue to botch it into your current
Right.
life, because you have a beautiful relationship with your husband, your partner.
Oh yeah.
So, and you guys synchronize everything beautifully, because what you're not allowing that story to be part of
Correct.
this lifetime.
Correct.
And that's actually a form of saying, yeah, you're doing your best you can. And I think that the way you're handling also your depression by going outside when you have those downtimes and spending time in nature is a
Sure.
beautiful way. Now you got all these kittens
Oh
all
my
over
God, yeah.
the yard
I
that
love
gave birth.
them.
But so also those, if you're local in Florida, in the Florida area, he's giving away kittens.
Oh my God, yes. I
How
need to
many do
get
you
rid
have
of
now?
I've given away 3. So I have their mothers. I have
They're
maybe
beautiful.
8.
Wow.
8 little. There's one that's just a couple of weeks old.
So if those that want free
Yeah.
kittens, I am going to
Please.
put that information in his podcast episode, so you guys
Yes.
can reach out to him for those kittens. They're free and they're beautiful. They're looking for a loving home. So
Just
please
take
help them
care of
out.
them.
Just
Please
take care of
take
them.
care
All
of
we
them.
want is someone that's going to love them and
Yeah.
give them a loving home at home.
So,
Not let them roam around.
No, please.
So
So the depression is getting better. I mean, I'm not an angel,
would you ever heard about sound healing? Have you tried that?
No, I think we've talked about
I'm
that
gonna
before.
invite you to one of my sound healing
Yeah.
events. I'm gonna have a yoga class uh, where you release all the stress, and it's a gratitude theme basically within ourselves, because we need that. Sometimes we don't cater to ourselves too much. We always focus on everything else around us and others, and when it comes to us, we kind of forget. So this theme is based
That's kind
for
of
that.
mom/nurse.
Everything,
That
everything.
you take care of your patient. And
Yeah,
you take care, but
absolutely.
you don't take care of yourself.
But this is a gratitude towards ourselves, and basically bringing that back into, and it's important because without us being 100% true to how we feel and what we
Correct.
want, we cannot really give that 100% to another. So that's something I say, even though people can give so much to another person, but are they not, it's not an authentic scenario. And that I learned in over my years, because I would give so much, but then I would end up resenting, because I wasn't really giving with the heart. I was giving with the exception, so when I learned that, this is not the way to do it, you have to really take care of yourself first in order for you to be able to open up to others without expecting anything in return.
That is so true. So all of from 2017 to date, I've had to look introspect into myself and everything that I've done through my life. I've always I'm a gambler, not money wise.
But
I gamble with life and do stuff and see it hit and miss. But that's part of your growth.
Yes.
And the part of your acceptance to, well, I'm here. I've done the best that I can, and just accept it, because at the end of the day, you can't give love if you don't love yourself, right? That's
Absolutely.
number 1. And I've always been flexible, so I kind of had to be flexible with different situations, especially at work.
Right.
It's not all by the book.
Right.
I myself, when I go, let's say, if I go back to school,
right,
I love going back to school now, because I get to share my experiences. And when the professor is telling me, no, you got to go buy this book, and this book says that this is what you're supposed to do.
Right.
I'm like, dude, no,
that's not what I experienced.
True.
And it's so
this
true.
is not true. So the book is a
guidance.
guide.
Yes.
But life is totally different. So the University of Life versus the University of Teaching.
As you're listening to that, that's important.
Right? So the book tells you one thing, and use it as a guide. Don't use it as this is going to be, because life is unpredictable.
Yes.
So
and what happens to you and he may have the same, so-and-so may have the same experience, but
Correct.
a completely 2 different outcomes, because of the way also how you look at it versus how
you act.
Right.
How you act on it. So,
you may react to it fast, where I may take a moment to look at it and say, you know what, not for me. Or I may take it, but I may do it differently because I look at how I'm looking at it is completely different. My story is totally different from your story. So,
and your experiences are so important. So we go through different things. We handle things differently.
right.
But I can learn from yours. Not going to do what you did, but I can learn from yours because
And
that's
apply it the way you want, right?
Correct. That's a conversation I've had with my dad too. Papi says always do this, and I'm like, Papi, look, I understand that you did it this way. So I'm going to listen to what you are saying, put it back in my head sometime, and then use that as a reference. But I'm not going to do it because it's different. The situations are different. I'm different.
Exactly. And I think it's important that we do make that, because I even as a mother of a 24-year-old, I always told the same thing because we live in different times. Our parents had and I remember growing up with my parents the same way. They're from Colombia, South America, where there's a one-way track of mind of thinking. And they think that by coming here, they can still bring that same method. Correct. But it's a different time. We live in different society. They moved into the city, so the city's bigger than where they were living before. So it's like you can't apply that to. It's like saying eating country food from that is very fattening and trying to eat the same food here. You're gonna gain weight here because you got a car here. You don't need to walk, and you're not gonna be working in the fields. So you have to adapt to your society, to your culture, to your environment, and also to the changes because we evolve. So it's like what worked for them may not work for us.
And that's a key word, the adapt.
Adaptation.
And so you kind of have to adapt through life. What you did yesterday, you're not going to do it today. So you kind of have to be open to all that stuff. So these years of 2017 to date has just shown me different ways of thinking, how to slow down, how to stop, think. I mean, I teach people in the hospitals, different ways to how to maneuver, how to manage your patient.
Right.
The key is to listen and to stop.
Right.
And to acknowledge them and then think, what's the response?
Right.
So that's life.
Absolutely.
Right. And so what the good thing or the take from 2017 to date is I'm a different person now, open to different other things. I've always been a spiritual guy, but I'm not at this right now. I'm not there.
Okay. You feel like why? What is causing you to not feel it?
Well, I'm seeing everything that's going around, right? I'm seeing the wars. I'm seeing my stuff, and this is my opinion, right? So I don't see that there is a higher power, because if there were, we wouldn't have these wars. We wouldn't.
Well, here's my thing.
I mean,
I'll put my input into it.
Yeah.
I think that a lot of times it's like when you look at the law of the karma world and the law of it, when there's too much corruption, which is what we have had for so long, that we haven't been able to see for so long, and now it's kind of like unveiling. Everything is becoming, as we become more and more media, we're getting to that IA moment. Everything's becoming more exposed online that everybody has access on. We're not living like the old school where remember when we were children, we didn't even have a cell phone.
Oh my God.
You look at children now, my nephew is 4. When he was a baby, he had his first cell phone. I barely can even walk and he had his little cell phone. And I'm like, why? It's like, why are you bringing this to children today? It's like, what happened to playing outside, playing in the dirt, playing in the sand, playing, that doesn't exist. They're on their phones. So we're shifting so fast into that reality. I'm so grateful that I gave birth when I did to my child, because I cannot, when I hear my friends and colleagues tell me about their children and their experience today, oh my God, I really am glad, because it's like you have no control. I wouldn't know what to do and how to keep my kid away from all this, because we look at it very innocently, but there's so much negativity out there, exposed to our children, that when you least expect it, the kid is already being, a predator is going under. They're talking about this stuff with the goggles now, and they're saying that they got to be careful now that you don't know who's coming into your thing. They can come and see through you. They can come into your from your experience on those goggles, they can see your whole entire apartment.
Yeah.
That scares you, because
Sure.
just your privacy is completely gone. Whereas in our time, we had privacy.
Correct. Our times
we had privacy, so we were able to also experience the nature at its point. And I gotta say, I'm grateful to know that my daughter lives in Montana, loves hiking when it's not cold, loves going out and travel.
Cold is good too.
Yeah, but too cold too much is not too good. But the fact that they get to experience, they're like old school for the generation that they're in. They're old school, and I was like, oh, thank God I got that, because a lot of these kids are so into trying to catch up with this whole social media thing and get lost in the whole reality of that, and think that it's all about how many likes do I have today, and get caught up in that, and they lose their personality. And it's so sad to see that with children, and for me, it's like,
well, every 20 years it changes, right after it. And I was thinking I was part of Generation X.
Yeah.
And I'm not.
No.
I'm the end of the baby boomers. I'm like, oh my God, I'm an old lady. What the hell? So then Generation X, and then the millennials, and then now I don't know what they're called now.
I have no idea.
But the millennials are old school now to the new generation.
To the new generation. That's where my kid is. Yeah.
So it's crazy.
It's true. But see, the thing is, for me, it's like the more we stay spiritual, the more we add on as a yogi speaking now, I feel like the more we put that energy out, because it's going to be almost a has and a have nots, basically. Correct. So you're going to have your 3D personality to the 5D, range. So it's like, which one do you rather be? Stay down here or elevate up here, and then throw that energy out there for the planet. It's like most of the time I wake up, I send good energy to all those that are surrounding me today, from the past, and those that I come into in the future, to basically the planet. And even, with the whole thing in Ukraine, I look at it in a positive way. These guys still have hope that things will happen. Yes, it's so sad, the stuff that's going on.
And all these people are dying. They're killing them all.
But if you look at it, exactly, for nothing, for power, ego. And
ego.
It's all ego. But if you think about it, there has been a generation of the same thing in many history. We go back.
Sure.
I never thought that. We never thought that we would see war in this time. But boy, are we wrong, because it comes down to another crazy person in power.
Another idiot.
And throwing it out. But, again, I remain with hope and faith that eventually things will come and something good out of it comes out. Because even when we had 9/11, it brought the union, it brought us together.
Yeah.
It brought people to be a little bit more grounded, understanding, And
New Yorkers were friendlier now.
I've always been friendly, I think.
Well, but New Yorkers, we were always standoffish. I mean,
it's a hustle bustle. It's a hustle and bustle life. But when I remember going and visiting to see my sister, and my daughter was young, I'm not one that I grew up in, even though I'm from New York, I didn't grow up in this, understanding the street, because I was still a child. And then we moved to Jersey. And so basically I was always taken to New York with my parents. So I didn't know how to go around. So when I go now on my own with my daughter, and I'm like, oh my God, where the hell do I go? How do I get around? Yeah. Someone saw me and said, okay, what are you looking for? I'm looking to get to so-and-so. They're like, well, you have to go to the other side. So that was nice, because they're looking out for you in a good way. And I was like, okay, that was nice.
Which is good. This is what we needed.
And I could say, we're friendly people. We just mind our own business.
Yeah, we do. We do. And we all walk around with four walls. Yeah. I have my New York golden rule. And I always walk around with four walls.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's kind of hard, even when I talk to my therapist.
But no, I think it's a personality, because even I'm that way too. And today, if people that don't know me, I walk in the room, the first thing they'll think is that
that's a New Yorker trait.
Yeah, they'll look at me and they'll say, "Oh, she's stuck up." But once they talk to me, what's my personality?
Correct. That's why when I go into an interview, I hate these interviews, phone interviews or Zoom interviews. I want to go in front of someone.
Yes.
Trust me, when I go in front of someone, they're going to fall in love.
Right, because it's an energy.
Correct. And a phone or a Zoom is not going to show your personality, your warmth, that
Yes,
energy
yes,
that you're
yes, yes,
talking
yes,
about,
yes.
it's not going to happen. So I like to go in front of people, trust me. And I've been doing that for the past 2 weeks. I've been going in interviews and whatnot, and they all fall in love,
Yeah, it's a beautiful. I mean, you got a great personality. I love it.
regardless of the walls,
Oh, you bring the walls down. We all do. I do too. I know that when I go
try.
into a place that I'm not knowing what to expect, I'm always a little bit like guarded.
Yeah,
But
that's the word, guarded.
that's a guarding thing. And I, even if I go to a party, I'm not unaware who I'm going to meet and all that stuff. But then I bring myself down, and I acclimate into it. And
Yeah.
it takes time. But yes, I'm not your bubbly type of person that walks in the
At
door.
first.
No,
No, I'm the
I'll
same
admit to
way.
that.
I hate, if I'm going back to, let's say, I tell my friends that I'm a strange gay man. I don't like going to, to clubs
Right.
or the bars. I kind of stay away from the meat market kind of
Yeah,
stuff,
yeah.
right?
I guess
stay
you and
away
I are
from
good
that.
friends.
Yeah,
I'm the
yeah,
same
for
way.
sure.
I
And
don't
then
like that.
if I happen to go because friends are
It's
coming
a
in
friend,
and
right?
whatnot, and I into, S and Ming, standing and modeling in a corner with a drink. Leave me alone. I'm only here because I have friends of mine.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm quite uncomfortable
Mhm.
in those big crowds. And again, I'm in a big crowd and I still feel alone.
Of course, of course.
Thousand people and I'm still alone. I went to one of the what is it? EDI,
Uh-huh.
the dance stuff.
Mhm, mhm.
And so there was easily, I went to the Las Vegas one. I want to go to the Burning Man too. But this one, there was, Jesus, there was about 1 million people there. It was huge.
Yeah.
And I still felt alone
Well,
amongst 1 million people.
the thing is that a lot of, unless you're like going with friends that you feel close to, that you can chit chat and all that stuff, and overall,
And I was.
but they were doing their own thing too.
Yeah.
It's like, so the thing is, but it has to be like when I experience like my partner and I, when we go up to my what do you call it, friends,
Mhm.
she's the best friend of mine since we were children. We don't even catch up like once in a blue moon. We'll met, but we catch up where we left off, and it's a genuine kind of feeling because when we do go out with them, it's almost like it's the four of us.
Sure.
We all connect at that level. We're all connecting at that
I have
level,
those.
and I love that because I can be in those kind of crowds with them, not even feeling that alone, that being alone.
Yeah.
But if I go into a place like that and I'm not connecting with someone, yes, it's gonna feel that emptiness, and it's like I just want to go home.
Yeah.
And I'm a
It's my
homebody.
safe
Yeah,
place,
it's my safe place. I would rather be with my animals
Yeah.
and my boyfriend, just like, yeah, let's just watch something and
Yeah.
let's just chill, and I feel in that comfort zone. But that's
Yeah. I do the same thing. I'll hang out.
nothing
in
wrong
New
with
York by
that because you
myself.
feel more it's more authentic. And sometimes for me, being out and about in those kind of places like that, there's a lot of not authentic people. It's a
Sure.
lot of like mask, look at it in the costume.
Oh my
Everybody's
God.
wearing a mask and
Everybody
everybody's
is.
pretending to be somebody. And if not, they're so inebriated that they're just, getting by life. And I'm like, and you could
Yeah.
feel that not authentication that's to
Yeah.
the point where it's like, to me, it's a turn off. So it's like,
Yeah. I mean, for me, it's after a while, I'm like, oh,
I
I'm
just
so
want-
over it. I
So
just wanna
doesn't it
go.
wear you out? Don't you get home
It does.
like, oh,
It
I
does.
just,
It just wears my head out just thinking of the possibilities of what. I'm like, you know what? Forget it.
yeah,
I'd rather commune with myself.
it's more meaningful.
Yeah, I'll go outside and I'll commune with nature, and I'm an animal
Kittens.
lover. I can't see an animal being,
I know.
taken. Come on, people. It's a living.
It has a soul.
being
It has a
regarding.
soul.
Don't be bad to it.
Mhm.
Don't. And I just enjoy it. It's just I have to keep busy. So the VMV keeps me busy.
That's good.
The Franovik keeps me busy as well. And it's all this divisions because Franovik not only has the fashion, the eco-friendly fashion, I also have a magazine.
I love that. And that's
Right.
part of the,
It's part of Franovik.
tell us a little bit more about that.
And so is the bracelets they create. So the models and
bracelet.
designers, I created it because it was to enhance the full experience of Franovik and the and promoting Franovik. But I also used it to promote and to mentor other designers and stylists that were coming up. They were still in school,
That's awesome.
and so I used that that platform to help them and mentor them into where it should happen. Because a lot of what I've saw with the universities, the kids come out of the schools, with their fashion
Yeah,
degree,
degrees. Yeah,
and they're thinking, oh my God, I'm going to grab the world because I have my
it's not
degree.
that
And
easy.
it's not that easy, dude.
No, it's not.
You have to pay your dues and you have to find someone that's already established
Right.
to tell you, because I made mistakes.
Yeah, of course, like everything. Everyone
Right.
does.
I was involved with the wrong people. So the magazine is there to help these kids
That's
coming out of
beautiful.
school, mentor them. Listen, I made these mistakes. You can't make the same mistake that I did, but you can learn from mine.
That's
So
beautiful.
these are the steps that
So you're
you
like
need to do.
you're big time mentoring them into
Yeah,
into their
yeah.
steps of
Yeah.
what to go, where
Yeah.
to go about
And
it.
then if they have fashions, I also want to take their pictures. So I have a slew of models, a pool of models that I can take from and then help them and put their creations out and put them on paper, put it on digital form. And what's important to any fashion designer is that at some point in their life,
Yeah.
they need to be on the cover of a magazine.
Just so they can get there to be seen.
Correct.
To be seen.
And so I've been in 12 covers already.
Beautiful.
And not local. I mean, I'm a contributor to Vogue Italia. So I write for them from time to time. I've been on magazines from Dominican Republic, from Brazil, from USA, from Paris.
That's awesome.
From, Puerto Rico. So we've been on the covers already.
That's awesome.
So this is a push for them as well. This is going to make them feel really, really important because now they have a cover.
Got it.
And so, and the insides and they have to learn.
It's like you said, you're giving them a guide.
Yeah.
Basically, the tools are in this magazine for them to kind of take it from there and take reign. And
they have to open themselves up to new possibilities. I, myself, besides designing the dresses, right? I've had to become, because people don't show up. So I've had to become photographer.
Oh, everything.
Makeup artist.
A maverick.
Hair, I've had to, oh my God, I've had to become editor to edit my own pictures. I'm a whiz in Photoshop, by the way.
Yeah.
So I've had to kind of do all that stuff. And so I've been seeing kids coming out of school, well, I'm a fashion designer. This is all I do. I'm like, no, dude, you have to, if you're not going to be the versatile one like myself, that you need to do it all, then you need to surround yourself around people
that are going to help,
that are going to help you and not take advantage of you. Because that was people who took advantage of us.
Yeah, but that's it. That's usually the case at the beginning when you learn the hard way. Because I, as a graphic designer as well, and my father thought I was going to be a fashion designer.
Oh, wow.
I used to sew as well.
Still do it.
I used to sew, but I got to the point where I was like, he brought me my first machine. He gave me everything. I used to create my stuff, and I just kind of went into the other part of it. I said, let me try graphic design, and then I went into the yoga unknowingly, and somehow here I am still to today. So I understand, and I what that was like and how that is, because I'm very creative. I'm an artist as well. So that's, artist in my family. My daughter now is an artist as well. And she too creates things she's even more meticulous than I am.
I like it.
Like very, very, very amazing. The stuff that she does. And even with I don't have patience when she does those little beads that you could put into these. These are his beauty, by the way. This is one of the things that we got for Christmas. I got it from my partner. Right. One of his, he's in the background cooking. This is my Buddha, which Frank, I mean, Victor basically asked him, what did I like, right? What was
Yes.
the questions that
Yeah,
he put him to the test to see
I
what is it
did.
that I like, and I was like, wow, I was impressed.
I needed to find out more of what your likes were. You know, these pieces become personal pieces for yourself. And they're unique pieces, because I'm not going to make this ever again beautiful for anybody else, right? So, also because it was you, I needed to research. You don't even know what I had to go through, because she likes the Buddhas, and I went into the Buddhas, and I went into the history, right? I wanted to be accurate, but the bead, what's the bead? It's citrine, and topaz, I love citrine, yes. And what's it, because there's elements to the citrine
to work them in harmony, and also rebalance them, yes.
So I even found out that the Buddha, it needs a stand and it needs a halo.
A halo.
So on the bottom and on the top.
Yep, he got it.
And so it was a gold piece, or it had to be a
and you got the
gold or silver, or a stone.
A stone.
Right? A crystal. And I'm completely flawed. And I'm like, whoa, just to put a bracelet together. It's so you got
Kamala's bracelet.
Yeah. You gotta do your stuff. And so, people don't do stuff. And I'm just saying to you, don't do the stuff just to do it. There has to be
a meaning
after it. There has to be
an intention.
Right. Something has to, there has to be something to do it. Just, I haven't made bracelets in 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Because I haven't felt it.
Right. It has to be, you have to feel it. Trust me. I have had my feelings, my share, and my fill too.
Especially artists. The artists, we go by instinct, we go by
feeling,
the passion, the emotion. And so if it's not there, it's not going to look good.
It's absolutely true.
So that's the same thing when you're writing a paper. If you have to write
what they call them writer's block or something. Yeah.
So everything you do should
be inspired.
There should be something to. I mean, when I have to write a letter or a recommendation letter, I'm like, oh man,
what do I say? How do I start?
I could have had a V8, right? So then I'm thinking of the person, what they've done for me to write it. So that takes time. Right. And so you put it on paper, or you type it up, and then you look through it, and then you want to change words and feelings and your sentences. So everything you do, you need to think about it.
Absolutely.
Before, especially in the artist world, where we come from, it's even the yoga. What you're doing.
Another maverick. I have to do especially now going online and opening up my own app, I've had to learn to edit, put myself out there. Sure. Like now what I'm doing with the podcast, now it's on, on Spotify, and now you can see it on Spotify. So I feel like another mini Rogan here in the making. And, I get now letters from people, like the lady that I'm going to be interviewing, and she basically saw me on my website and said, can I be part of your Holistic Yogi podcast? I love what you bring. It's very intricate, from a mixture of different things, and I love that. And I'm like happy that it's coming to life. What I put in my head, because sometimes ADD, so I can be 1 minute here, and the next minute I'm here, and then I'm like, oh shoot, I gotta go right back to this one. Put it in paper. And I have to put it in paper, otherwise I don't tackle it right. So I've learned to handle that mindset of mine that goes all over the place. And then I've learned how to go into whatever I don't know. I spend time on YouTube trying to learn things,
on the University of YouTube.
I'm like, oh my God, it is. It's like, thank you for YouTube, because honestly, if it wasn't for that, I would not be. Just now I decided to create a KDP, a Holistic Yogi journal book, and I'm trying to put it out there through Amazon. So I have my own, book that you guys can download, and it's under my name. So
you have a Wikipedia? Yeah?
Not yet.
Work on it.
I'm working. I'm working on it. So it's like, but little by little, there's so many things, and it's like, and then also how to edit these videos to make them look professional. Like you said, you have to be your own boss.
Are
Thank
you
God I
doing it
had,
already?
yeah, yeah. It's on my app, and creating content isn't
You need to
easy, you know.
show
It's
me
like
how to do that.
it's it's so much, but I'll show you.
Okay.
I got into, thank God I have my background on, again, what all your
Mm-hmm.
the things like my graphic design came into life for me because I'm able to create my content
Yeah.
and put it together. Um, because not like you said, sometimes when people want to help, there's always something tagged onto it, and
Yeah.
I'm not in that space yet to say, okay, I can go ahead and pay so and so to do this for me. I'm not there yet.
Yeah.
Working on it, but for the meantime, I have to do everything. So
Oh, you need help?
and
Call me.
yeah,
I'm not far.
okay,
I'm only 9 minutes away.
that's
You
awesome.
know that, right?
It's
9
true.
minutes.
It's true. It's true. You're right down the street from us.
Yeah, for real.
But and you're the first one, to be honest, to be with me one-on-one, which I actually like it like this because
Yeah.
this is more personalized.
Yeah, I do too.
This is the Rogan style.
Yeah, and I'm feeling very, very comfortable. As soon as I walk through the door, I'm feeling very, very wonderful.
Thank you.
I mean, I feel the love. And
Yes.
it was just easy for me just to open up. I normally don't. Even I've been with Francisco for 26 years, and Francisco is not someone that I talk to him about any of my stuff.
Okay.
He still blames me.
He feels left out.
No, he still blames me for me losing my job.
Oh.
Or I'm like, you did something. You rub somebody the wrong way because I know you. You did something and then you're not there anymore because of that. And I'm like, no, I didn't. Everyone knew who I was and they left me alone. They know, look, whatever needs to be done, just tell Victor and it's done.
Right.
But when you get new people coming in and you're a threat and you're this and you're that, then goodbye.
Yeah, and absolutely.
But I learned so much from there.
Absolutely. I think everything that we go through in every life, what do you learn from it? It only repeats again when you don't learn from it.
Correct.
And it may come in different forms, but it's still the same lesson.
Yeah.
So until you choose to stop doing the same thing over and over, then you'll find yourself in another, elevating into another.
I felt untouchable when I was working again.
In a good way?
In a good way, only because, my positions were created because of the need, right? So I felt and I was untouchable.
Beautiful.
But I don't feel like that anymore. I'm not untouchable. I do feel pain. I will get hurt. Before it was, no, you can touch me.
Well, you're more connected to your emotions now, you would think.
I think so. I mean,
nothing wrong with that. I think our bodies will also not hold on to those stories when we're in that feeling of like protection, but when we're open and vulnerable, but we can also let and release. It's important because hence disease comes from when you hold on to too much the same story and you hold it, and then it becomes very painful. And different people hold it in a different area in their body. So that can cause, like again, if you see heart attacks or pancreatic cancer, those kind of things, colon cancer.
So a lot of those.
Yeah, that has to do where you hold your pain. For me, in my family, it's all about the digestion, which is why I put a lot of stuff on digestion, health, and all that stuff is key. What you eat, how you feel.
Critical.
Yes,
I mean, it's your core.
Absolutely, and it has a lot to do. Again, that's the third chakra. That's the fight or flight. That is also the one that tells you, that's when you say, okay, I'm going to take this and go, but you got to learn to find that balance. And that's just a part of me of learning to take the jump, but at the same time, observe where I'm going and not crash, where I used to jump and crash. Now I know I jump, I'm going to do this and see where I land. And then if it's not meant to be, I let it go. Because I'm not going to hold on to something that is not, either the time wasn't right or, whatever the circumstance it may be, the project wasn't in the like I said, in my 21-day research from a project from many years ago that came to life now, it's a project I sat down and it wasn't working. And I ended up showing it to some people and one of them wanted to run with it. Look at that, but it didn't work. From what I realized it didn't work for him, and I said, okay, good. I'm glad because I was able to change it and adapt it to what it is today. And I'm happy with it because it does work. It's just now it's about how do I market it to that next level. Marketing is the part that I'm still learning. And
Hello,
okay.
I'm here. I mean, this is what I do on a daily basis. I think I
You know.
live it, breathe it, eat it. I mean, I do it all.
Okay, I'm gonna have to break your brain on that.
Yeah, and I like to help. I like to mentor people. Keeps me sane.
Well, that's where your nursing came to.
Where
Like we go back to
exactly,
that first responder helping others.
once a nurse, always a nurse, regardless if I'm doing it or not, right?
Absolutely.
I've always wanted to help. Like my motto is always to make a difference in a daily basis in someone's life. And so I've been saying that even before it was popular, because it's popular now.
Right.
But I need to make a difference. Not that I want to, I need to make a difference on a daily basis, be it with people, be it with I mean, even with the kitties that are in the
Of
back, I
course.
need to make a difference with them.
That's beautiful, though. That's
One
beautiful.
of them is injured, and so I take the food to her.
Oh.
I mean, she's not mine; she's a stray, but she's injured,
And
so
you care for her.
Yeah, I take the food to her. So that's making a difference.
Absolutely.
And that's on the emotional side, right? But we need to make a difference on a daily basis with the environment as well.
Exactly.
So let's go back to the environment. So we all need to help the environment with little
And
stuff.
that means
It's baby
like
steps.
not trashing in the street, which like I hate driving
Correct.
by and I see trash all the time on the ground, and I'm thinking, why is someone coming and just throwing that?
If they're in driving, throw it in your
No.
car, and then when you get to a wastebasket, throw it away. Or we all get together and then we all start pitching together and start cleaning all that stuff. I mean, we have people to clean the streets, but come on, people.
It is your space also. You walk here, you live here, you know.
People throw stuff around my house right in front of the house. I don't know why, but I go out and I clean it, and I'm making a difference. Pick up the trash.
Absolutely.
Recycle your stuff.
The more you appreciate where you live, how your earth, and the more you're giving back. Again,
especially
as we
plastics.
said that, but you talked about spirituality, right?
Yeah.
That's part of being very spiritual because you're awakened. You're caring for the earth.
Yeah.
So it's like look at it as like, yes, I'll send the energy, wake up these people from being such a zombie and a litter.
And we need to conserve this. I mean, this is it. When this planet is dead, we're all dead because we don't have. I mean, we're not Star Trek. We can't energize anywhere at this point, right?
Right.
It's going to happen, obviously, but it's not right now. But
maybe with Elon Musk.
Maybe the master.
With the way he's doing all this stuff. Oh my God.
We have to preserve what we have.
Absolutely.
I mean, we have to do maintenance in our houses, right? To take care of the roofs, and we have to do maintenance in the car for it to drive. We have to do the same thing with the planet.
Absolutely.
We have to clean it. We have to help it
and love it.
Correct.
Bring it back to life. Yeah.
What's gonna happen if she dies? You can't live in a car.
No. Absolutely.
And we all need water.
Absolutely.
So drop your plastics. Don't throw them in the sea.
No,
animals
get used to use it like we use glass. I use glass. It's everything is important. Why even put it back? Well, I love this entire podcast. I want to ask also what would you give to our viewers and listeners right now? A word of advice for those that are upcoming designers and people with mental health. What would you say and give them as a word of advice for them?
Well, regarding mental health, stop. Look at yourself from within, because we have the questions and we have the answers.
Absolutely.
It's just that sometimes
we don't listen.
Or we don't want to accept it. We're in denial.
Yeah.
And then get the help you need, because mental health is real. It's real.
Yes.
I mean, it's prevalent now. It's more because of the COVID and all the situation that we're at. But mental health is real. I mean, I'm facing it. I face it on a daily basis. There's good days and bad days, and I'm on medication. When my head saying, let's do this, but my body's telling me no.
Right.
It's just not going to happen. So it's real. So take advantage of, any treatments and
And the stuff
medications,
that's
and
out
talk
there.
to people.
Talk to people, right?
Right.
Talk to people.
With regards to the fashion, you know, the kids coming out of school right now, congratulations if you're doing
Yes.
that right. Um, look, stop also. It's all about stopping and thinking and looking, right?
Right.
Stop, at least put on paper what you want to do, what you
Right.
want to reach, what your goals are, and then take it. I'm a checklist kind of guy, so I do a checklist
Right.
and I click off and check off. Do that because ultimately you want to be the fashion designer, but that's going to take years and years and years, right?
Right.
Versace wasn't the
Right.
when he
Overnight.
started. It took years of that. So remember that it's a journey. It's going to take you. There's steps to this.
Right.
And then look for people to help you. Look for mentors.
Right.
Talk to people like myself, like even Frank. Other fashion designers that are there, local fashion designers, even international.
Right. Just
designers.
connect with them and
ask them a question.
that's beautiful.
Any question is a dumb question is a question that's not asked.
Yes.
right?
Yes. Absolutely.
And with regards to the environment, take care of your environment.
Absolutely.
Baby steps.
Absolutely.
Pick up trash.
Do what you
Recycle
can.
bottles and whatnot. Put your grain of salt, and it's so easy to do.
Yeah. Good karma always equals what? To good karma back.
Good. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, Victor, thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
this beautiful episode. And everybody else listening, thank you so much for joining. Like and subscribe for those that are on YouTube, those that are on my Spotify or Anchor. Go ahead and, also you want to be part of this holistic yogi, just go ahead and reach out and let me know. Until next time, thank you. Namaste.
Bye.